So Angela, I was talking about your passion and how it comes through, but frequently that's because of the reason that you do things, what, my friend Simon Sinek refers to as the why. So if I were to ask you what that is for you, how would you describe it?
Really good question. Because for me, it actually was quite a journey to figure out why I am in this industry. And a lot of people would wonder why. My why is when I first started in the training industry, I started as a training coordinator, but then I got into teaching. So I was teaching Cert 2 to Diploma in Business. My very first course, I had a class of mainly women returning back to work after having children. So they hadn't been in the workforce for a long time. They'd also never done anything in business before. And on the first day, I asked all of our students to stand up and introduce themselves to the rest of the class. So who they are, where they're from, and why did they choose this course. Unbeknownst to me, there was a lot of students in the room who were very scared to stand up and actually introduce themselves. I have no idea about that because I have no problem standing up anywhere and speaking.
Sure.
10 weeks later, we finished, it was a Certificate 2 in business. We finished the course and I asked the students to do the same. I asked them to stand up and speak to the class and say what was the one thing that they got out of this training that has changed their lives. And this one student, she stood up. She was about 20 years older than me at the time. And she had been at-home mum. And she said, Angela, what I have learned is I can now, you asked me at the start of this course to stand up and introduce myself. I was so scared. Now I have the confidence to stand up and speak to a group of people, and I know I feel comfortable in myself to do that. I've got goosebumps right now with this, like it did on the day, because I was like, hold on, I thought I was teaching business. And what I realized is we, as trainers, we don't just teach the subject. We teach confidence. We teach how to build self-esteem. We teach communication skills and techniques, things that they wouldn't have had maybe in their home environment. It is so much more what we learn, and the gratitude that you get from your students is absolutely amazing. And then I went on to own my own RTO, and I would have parents and brothers and sisters and aunts and cousins coming up to my trainers and saying to them what an impact they had had on their brother, sister, wife's lives, and how that has impacted not only that person, but their whole family. Education is the future. It is so much about how we change lives through education. And this is why we do what we do now, because we're changing lives through many training organisations around Australia. And that's what I want to do. That's the impact I want to have.
It's so interesting you said that, about changing lives, because that's, and thank you for bringing us to that point, because it's so true. And that leads me to think, and if I'm allowed to mention a particular, no, I think I am. Yes, I am. So if you think about that, that you're changing lives, and just imagine for the moment that MasterCard, that was the name, right? MasterCard was responsible for your marketing. What would they say? They would say it's priceless. Changing lives is priceless, really.
It is. And it's not just the person you're teaching. It's so
ripple.
Joining B1G1 and looking at how we can educate one person and provide education for them. They take it home and they're teaching their family and aunts and uncles, and that there's more than just what they're doing. There's so much more that you can do once you've got education.
You talked about goosebumps. I get goosebumps thinking about it.